their neighbours' places for inspiration on their own DIY. It's fab new what the neighbours did.
We're always looking for ways to renovate, revamp and redesign our homes to fit in with our ever-changing lifestyles. But when it comes to making decisions, sometimes we need a little helping hand. And with so many of us living in houses that are the same as our neighbours, wouldn't it be great to have a look at what they've done before we get started? On today's show, we're meeting Susan and Chris. They want to transform their damp-ridden cellar into a living space perfect for entertaining and relaxing. But can neighbours Ruth, John and Nikki help make their ideas come to life? During this series, I'm calling on families across the country who are ready to remodel and renovate their homes.
Hello, girls.
Hi. With my help, they'll be knocking on their neighbours' doors.
Can we come and go for your house?
Why not? Come on in. Neighbours who've already transformed their own homes with some truly spectacular results.
Look at this.
Making them the perfect people to pass on some top tips and ideas.
One of the things I will say is plan your lighting.
When the building begins, there'll be plenty of dirt and lots of dust. But when the work's complete, what will the neighbours who've helped out think of the final result?
Oh my goodness. Do you like it?
Wow, look at this. Yeah. Hey, you've been busy bees, haven't you?
I'm Amanda Lamb and this is what the neighbours did. Leeds, West Yorkshire. It's a vibrant city with a rich heritage and a thriving arts and culture scene. Just 10 minutes drive from the city centre lays the close-knit community of Bramley. It's the perfect place to come if you're in need of some neighbourly know-how. It's also home to a host of large 19th century properties built in Yorkshire stone and with plenty of room to renovate. And the owners of one such house are Susan and Chris Barker. Susan first spotted this three-bedroomed Victorian house 11 years ago, and it was love at first sight. But her partner Chris was reluctant to move.
I says, no, I says, I'm not moving down there. And she says, well, if you don't, you've got the bin liners on the doorstep.
I didn't. I said, at least come and have a look at it.
Thankfully, when he saw it, Chris was equally impressed. So the couple bought it and have spent the last decade doing it up. The area they've yet to tackle, though, was one of the main features that convinced them to buy the house in the first place.
Originally, when I came to see the house on my own, when I got back, I said to you, the basement's brilliant, we could do all sorts with it. And it's ironic that that's the thing that we've not actually done much with.
While the rest of the house is in tip-top shape, the basement is in desperate need of some attention. It's dingy, it's dismal, and worst of all, it's damp.
We looked at just getting the, the damp sorted out, and then decided, well, if we're paying all that money to have it done, then let's make it a usable room and something that we'll get some value out of.
What me and Susan's always said, that if we're going to do it right.
Originally built as servants' quarters, their basement is split into 4 areas. 2 main rooms, separated by a supporting wall, a long, narrow utility room, and an old coal cellar, all flagged in cold, damp Yorkshire stone. This is going to be a big job. And here's what they have in mind. To create the Barker's dream basement, the builders will first remove the Yorkshire flagstones to allow them to dig down and damp-proof the entire area. Then the central wall will be knocked down to create one large living space. And because Chris and Susan just love to throw a party, there's even talk of a bar being fitted. Finally, the coal cellar will be cleaned up and transformed into a downstairs toilet, while their utility room will be given a complete makeover. The project is set to take around 10 weeks to complete, and the Barkers have a budget of £30,000. But at this stage, they're still not 100% certain of what they'll be getting for their money.
Even though we know that we're going to be knocking walls down and we're going to turn this into a toilet, it's still hard to imagine. I still can't get it into my head how it's going to look.
Sounds to me like somebody could do with a bit of assistance, so I know just the neighbours to lend a hand. Meet Ruth, John and Nikki. They've already transformed their cellars into pleasing yet practical living spaces, and they're ready to pass on everything they learnt along the way.
It's great going to other people's houses, you know, because it does give you that idea what we can do and what we can't do.
What colour schemes we'll be looking at, what kind of furniture we're going to have in there, how we'll be using it.
Yeah, it's going to be good. We're going to have fun.
The builders have been hired and the contracts have been signed, but before work starts, and sure enough, when project manager Ruby and his team of builders get to work, the first thing they reach for is a pneumatic drill. It's back-breaking work, but this whole Yorkshire stone floor has to be lifted.
Well, it's the best workout you can have, really. Using your biceps, using your arms, using your knees, everything.
These flags were originally laid directly onto the soil, and that's where the damp's been coming from. Once the floor is out, it's time for the biggest transformation to take place. The central wall is coming down, and it's a supporting wall, so it's a precarious procedure.
Effectively, we're supporting the whole of the upstairs just on 4 props. Susan seems to think that the house is going to fall. We do this day in, day out, so the house is definitely not going to fall down.
The props are temporary and will eventually be replaced by a steel girder once the wall has come down.
We're going to make a little bit more dust.
And noise. Thank goodness Susan took Ruth's advice and pre-warned the neighbours.
The house is still not falling down, which I think Susan will be happy about.
This is the most physically demanding part of the build and the bit that will create the biggest transformation. In just 3 hours, Susan and Chris's cellar has gone from being 2 separate rooms into one big open-plan space. And as predicted, it's been both noisy and messy work.
You pat me and I'll pat you.
Susan may escape the noise by being at work, but once home, the amount of dust, all the noise through the adjoining wall. But far from turning them off the idea, it's actually made them consider their own basement conversion. And now they've come knocking, hoping for some friendly advice.
So what do you think, guys?
I'm deeply jealous.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I wasn't sure before, but now I've seen this, I think definitely.
It's still got the height as well. It's not like
Yeah.
a normal cellar,
That's
is it?
right.
You know, you've still got the height even though it's been...
well, the house is the same all the way up.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like a cellar at all. Not at all. You wouldn't guess.
Not recognisable, is it?
It's amazing. We didn't think there'd be this much room, to be honest.
No. Started off with me wanting a big utility room, and now I think Pete's looking at this thinking I'll have a nice big bar and chill out area.
You see, Pete's thinking ahead now.
I think you might have.
I think you might have convinced him.
I've been trying for months,
Yeah.
but now he's seen it, I think we may well be. Thanks so much for letting us have a look. It's
More
brilliant.
than welcome.
Thank you.
And obviously, come back again when it's really finished as well, because there's still quite a lot to do.
We're waiting for a drink at your bar.
Absolutely.
It's so nice.
It's great that Susan is now proudly showing off her nearly completed basement, especially after being knee-deep in dust just 4 weeks ago. 2 weeks later, the basement's close to completion, and the object of endless discussion is now going in. Chris has got his way. And his bar. Project manager Ruby has always been fully on board with the idea and even joined forces with Chris to help sweet-talk Susan into agreeing to one. So now it's almost completed, has it got the thumbs up from its landlady?
Wow, that's good. Blimey heck. That's fantastic.
I was worried Susan would be calling last orders before the bar saw its first pint, but it looks like it's soon to be open for business.
All I need now is a nice glass of red wine. Service.
still to come, I get my first look at Chris and Susan's completed basement.
OK, Amanda, this is it.
And there's a party at their place. But will the neighbours who've helped out like what they see?
It's a great space for entertaining, clearly.